Hey folks, it's Mark and Bob with Fire Mountain Outdoors.
Hey, do you have a 1911 that has boring old grips on it? Hey, stay tuned because we've got some grips that are going to dress up your 1911 quite nicely.
Stick around. You know, Bob, when I got that Para Expert Commander, it came with these really cheap chintzy grips. I loved everything about the firearm except for these cheap chintzy grips. They're just kind of slippery. They don't have an aggressive cut, and they just look cheap and plasticky. So, which bugged me because I liked everything else about the gun.
The pistol had, kind of a real nice custom look to it, and they had these dumbed down grips on it that just kind of cheapened it.
They're just inviting. It's just inviting you to open it. And you know what? Frankly, I'm glad they do that. Okay, let's just put these placeholder cheap grips on there because we're going to put some good stuff on there. And the good stuff you put on there is probably not what I want. So,
right.
So there we are. So I decided on Phenolic.
And Phenolic's good stuff. I've got some Phenolic grips on one of my other 1911s.
Phenolic is half the weight of aluminum. The coloring's all the way through. So if it's got any scratches or gouges, especially because of the pattern, it's camouflaged.
It's like a laminated wood. You've got different colors that they're doing, like my grips right here. They're going to be black and gray. So you got a layer of black, a layer of gray, a layer of black, etc., all the way up through the depth of the grip.
Right, and you went with the classic ones. Why don't you talk about the classics that you got from LOK grips?
The classics, they're a little bit more similar to what you're traditionally going to find on like a 1911, but they've got the multi-layered laminate here, and they've got a texture on them that isn't overly aggressive. It is a little bit aggressive enough to where if my hands were wet and I was shooting it with these grips, you get some slippage. With these, you definitely don't get any sort of slippage at all. I mean, it is in there firm. It's nice. It's almost like a 400 grit sandpaper.
Right. If you like the traditional checkering and the spacing of traditional checkering, then the classics would work pretty good. I went with the more aggressive Spec Ops ones, and it was really a cosmetic decision for me, Bob. These have a unique pattern where the back has a more of a linear pattern that goes, and it shows looks like scallops. But on the front, it almost looks like reptilian.
Like a dragon scale almost.
Exactly. And so the points per inch are a lot fewer. There's a lot fewer points, which makes it more aggressive. So if you kind of compared it to sandpaper, it'd be more like 80 grit versus 400 grit. So yours are more of a classic and a smooth design, where I think because of that nature, if you had a holster or something that you were wearing close to your skin, that would be better. This is a little bit more aggressive. I like the more aggressive grip of it, but I think that the more aggressive deal might be annoying if you had it next to your skin.
I have exaggerated love handles.
That makes two of us. Then.
And, that is something to consider when you're picking out a set of grips. If that's going to possibly be rubbing on a soft part of skin, something that's ultra aggressive like that might not feel too good.
Yep. So these are LOK grips. The cool thing about this, Bob, is we did our research and we always love the value. And in our research of getting the Phenolic grips, we discovered, hey, you can spend easily up to $120 on some Phenolic. Well, I got this for right at or under $400. So adding a $100 set of grips to my $400 firearm just didn't work for me. The numbers didn't add. But the LOK grips are only $47, and here's the cool thing: they're only $4 shipping. I hate getting lured in by a low price and then getting stuck on the back end of shipping. So $4 for shipping was awesome.
Yeah. And so, you're looking at, you mentioned Phenolic grips that run like $120. I do have some Phenolic grips that do cost $120. They came stock on my particular firearm, and it kind of started me to think, I'd like these phenolic grips. I want to get more of them.
Right.
I didn't want to pay that kind of price though.
Right.
So you see something, that's a good value. You don't always know what you're going to get, but comparing these grips to what I already have, I see no difference as far as quality.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, looking around at all the different edges, there's no gaps. It fit on there perfect. We didn't have to go in and Dremel anything to get them to fit.
Oh yeah,
they just bolted right on.
That's why we didn't do an install video, because it was like stupid simple. All right, you take these screws out and you put these grips on. So yeah, they fit really well, fit really nice. They have a bunch of different options when you're ordering them. You can, because 1911s have a bunch of different configurations with the beaver tails and the round tails and the bob tails, and whether you want the relief. So like mine right here has the relief, and so does yours, for the mag release.
Ambi safeties.
Ambi safeties. So they cover all of that. So you definitely want to have your firearm in hand when you're ordering these grips, so that you know that all the different options, because there's a ton of different options.
Yeah, they've got the compact model, and they have the full-size model for the 1911s, but they also have grips available for a bunch of different weapons.
Right, the Ruger 2245.
Beretta 92.
Some of the SIGs.
Some SIG models.
And compact CZ75. I can't wait for them to get the full-size CZ75, because I really want to put these on my 10 too.
I'm already thinking about what grips I'm going to order next. I think I'm going to go with some Beretta 92s. I really like these grips. The value, the quality, it's all there. I love them.
They're great grips. They look good. That was a primary thing for me. I should be able to set my firearm down, and I want to take a second look at it because it looks good.
It's just like having a new car sitting in the driveway.
So
that's a darn good looking set of grips.
So it went from plain Jane to a really attractive deal. Mine are in OD green and black. Yours are in a gray and black.
They're a gray and a black. So you know what? If you want to dress up the wheels on your stock firearm, this is really a great way to go. The value's there, the quality's there. I really can't think of anything to say, but let's just get out there and shoot them.
All right, let's do it.
So no review could be complete without actually firing the weapon to actually test these grips. So we're going to send a few rounds downrange with this Springfield 1911 with these classics. We're going to see how it performs with dry hands. Then I'm going to try a few rounds with some wet hands, and we're going to see how that actually works. So if everybody got their ears on, we're going to shoot a couple live rounds. It felt good, not overly aggressive. Let's try it with some wet hands. All right. Worked great.
Bob, the only thing I was really concerned about was that maybe this Special Ops grip, the front serration, was a little bit too aggressive. So it is aggressive. I'm just going to shoot it with bare hands because I usually don't use gloves. And I'm going to see how it feels under recoil. Perfect. They didn't shift at all. That doesn't dig into your hands. You just have a regular normal grip. Feels really nice. So that was the only reservation I had about these grips, with a question mark, and that answered it. So I like them.
Well, Mark, there we have it.
It's a LOK grips. You know what? I like them. They were the best value, and they work great.
My only problem is at $47.99, I see that amount of money I'm going to spend going up, because I've got a whole lot of other firearms that they make grips for. And
you're still going to spend that $120, but guess what? You probably get 2 firearms taken care of in the process.
Absolutely. So, great grips, for the value. I mean, these things are right on the money, and we are all about value. Like you said, these were the least expensive ones we could find, but that doesn't mean you're going to get low quality, just low price.
That's right. CNC machined in Grand Rapids, Michigan, America. You gotta like that. So no, we like them. Hey, we'll put a link to LOK grips down there in the description box, so make sure you go down there and check them out. And make sure you like this video and subscribe for more reviews and overviews of cool products.
You can't take back a bullet, folks.
And you never want to wish that you could.
That's right. So be safe, shoot straight. We'll catch you folks on the firing line.